Tonight, just be pretty relaxed, pretty informal. Just going through how we do customer interviews and gain valuable insights through that. So yeah, I'm a designer here at Headway. Been here for about a year and a half, and just to give you like an overview of my timeline. I went to school here in Green Bay at UWGB, and I graduated like in graphic design focus, like communication of the arts was the degree. And then after that, just life led to kind of a unique circumstance, and I ended up joining the Coast Guard for 5.5 years. So I was active duty, and so I didn't really get a whole lot of opportunity to dive into design and use like my degree full time. But throughout that time, I was able to do some freelance work, and enough where I was able to, after my duty in the Coast Guard, able to get a job at an agency here in Green Bay. So moved all over for a couple years, came back to Green Bay, was there for 2.5 years, 3 years almost, and then had the opportunity after meeting Andrew that wanted to learn more about how Headway did business. They just definitely stuck out to me in the way their approach and transitioning into more of UI, UX design and product design. So Headway was offering an apprenticeship, and was able to jump on board and learn from Andrew and Billy. So that's what led me up to this point. And now I'm no longer like the apprentice, and on the design team here. So cool. So what are we doing tonight? Yeah, I have a couple of slides I'm just going to go through, nothing too crazy, and then we were hoping to do a live exercise and actually go through a user interview. Definitely, you can listen to someone talk, but I think it would be even more impactful to watch an actual user interview unfold, and then we can debrief that. So cool. Why even talk to users? So just simply talking with users helps you prevent from creating something that no one wants. It saves time and money and allows you to understand the why behind users' behaviors. So unless you talk to users, you're just operating under assumptions, simply put. So who to talk to and how to make it happen. The ideal customers to interview are current users, potential users, and formal users. So current users being customers that have found success with your product, and then potential users are people that don't use your product but could benefit from it. Customers or former users are customers that have experienced problems with your product. So how many customer interviews should you conduct? There's a bunch of stuff on this, but basically interview in batches of 5 or less. And it's really interesting that there's been some tests that 85% of your findings can be found in the first 5 interviews, and you'll start to see some commonalities, and that anything more than that just becomes like the law of diminishing returns. You won't get as much value out of that. So it's best to do like a ton of smaller tests than spend a lot of time with a higher quantity of interviewees for a specific goal. So then only do more interviews with new goals. So after your first batch of interviews, you'll be able to refine your questions and focus on a specific part of your product and how it impacts them.
So are you saying only do 5 interviews or groups of 5 people?
Yeah, do 5 interviews and then kind of debrief that and come up with new goals based on the findings from those interviews.
Do you prefer one-on-one interviews or group interviews?
Yeah, there's a couple different methods or approaches that you could take, and we'll go through that in the next slide, or the next couple slides here.
Okay.
So finding customers to interview, we have a couple things listed here just to get people started and thinking about how to go about getting people to interview. So it could be your current email list. Start with a formal interview and ask if anyone's interested in sharing their thoughts on your product. If you have access to data, you can see which users are more active, and then obviously that would be the group of people to reach out to. If you have a customer support team, then it's a great way to get like that curated list of potential problems that people have faced. Social networks is obviously a great place. You can find people who use your products and just reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to talk about their experience. Or just word of mouth and ask if anyone uses your product or is interested in having like a conversation with what their experience so far. So here's the different ways to do the interview, and there's you can do a video chat, a phone call, email survey, or in person. And so tonight we're kind of doing a combination of things. We're going to be doing things with the video, but it's also obviously we're going to be in person, and so you guys will get to see that tonight. And then another couple options we have, like phone call, and this is something that could be reserved for more of like problem interviews, where the person that you're interviewing is explaining their experience of how they feel instead of trying to observe. So ultimately, if it's like a product and you want to see how they're interacting with it, it's best to either do it in person or have the ability to record it like we're going to be doing tonight, just to be able to see how they're navigating things, how they're reading things, how they're going through it. And you'll definitely learn a lot more that way. So I don't know if anyone here's been to our website, but we have like a startup guide that we have available for download, which some of these things are outlined in that. So I just wanted to put that out there. If anyone hasn't read that yet, you can find that on Headway's website. Cool. So here's where we are going to transition into the exercise. Question here. Cool. Lars is jumping in online with us. He said he's read it and it's great. So there is a testimonial for you guys. Cool. So for tonight, the exercise that we wanted to go through was Bird's Eye, and Bird's Eye is an application that the Headway team has actually been pursuing for, I don't know, the last year. I think we've started initial discovery. But it's just an idea that we had for a platform that we thought would be useful within our organization. So we've done some user testing a few months back, and we have like a dev team working on it part-time. And so we thought this would be a cool opportunity to not only do user testing for ourselves, but just for tonight to be able to just show people the prototype of the product and to be able to go through the user interview. Cool. So the way we go about getting situated for an interview is we like to follow the 5-act interview, which comes from Google Ventures, and each of the acts here are defined out, and this is what we'll be going through tonight. So if anybody has any questions on that specifically, we can definitely chat about that. But it's just kind of a script that you can take and then modify for your particular use. But it's just a great kind of place to start and helps get things in order. Cool. All right. So, like I said, we wanted to do an interview, and the way we were thinking of setting this up is to see if anybody, first of all, wanted to volunteer. We were going to jump in the next conference room over there and then go through the interview where I have a prototype set up that I'll just have whoever go through. And I have some tasks that can have you guys try out if anybody is interested. Be cool. Like this is, if anybody has any experience with any task management software like Trello or Asana, this might be up your alley. Yeah, okay. Cool. Sweet. Yeah, okay, perfect. Cool, so we will make our way over to the other conference room, and these guys will be able to hear and see what we're doing, and we'll go from there.
Remember, it's not the user's fault.
Yeah. No, yes.
We're definitely testing you. All right. Well, thank you for just volunteering and taking the time to run through this with us. And I think obviously the goal of this interview is just to get your honest feedback. And it's going to be informal. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. And if you get stuck or confused, it's not your fault. We're not testing you. We're testing our idea. So that actually is good. It helps us identify things that we need to continue to unpack and dive into. So I'll just like to start with some background contextual questions, and then we'll dig into the prototype. So who are you and what do you do?
My name's Amy Cooksworth, and I am the Senior Interaction Designer.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that?
About 10 years.
Awesome. How do you normally organize a single project or multiple projects?
Use a combination of internal software created for the company I work for, Trello, and email. And if I'm working with an outside team, typically Jira.
Okay.
That's not day-to-day.
Cool. Is there anything like some people, this doesn't apply, but do you organize like your personal tasks? Like, do you have personal to-do lists or anything? I'm just curious if you do, how you go about organizing those.
Yes, and I actually use paper and pen.
Okay. I like it.
So,
Cool. So what, jumping back to like your work or personal, what's your biggest pain point when it comes to managing tasks?
keeping everybody on the same page, or if you're at a roadblock, like clearly communicating where that roadblock is and getting the information to and from different people, especially if it's outside client roadblock.
Sure. Okay. What do you like most about the tools that you're currently using?
Like Trello is really easy to use. Sometimes I use Trello myself, but I usually just default pen and paper. But also like internal smaller teams, it's easy to use and everybody has vision on like everybody else, and you know where you're at, or you can kind of make it as little or as much.
For sure. What do you dislike about some of the tools that you use?
Email is pretty inefficient, even though certain people in the company default to that. I guess calendars is another tool and stuff we use. There's some like inefficiencies in just keeping everybody on the same page of where tasks are.
Do you find any limitations within like Trello, for example? Like, is there something that you wish it did that it doesn't, or any of the platforms that you use?
I think something that would be like a outward client facing would be better.
Okay.
That's because most of all the tools and everything we use is internal.
Sure.
And then once it goes sort of to an external resource, usually that's email, and that's not always.
Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. At this point, I'd like to look at the prototype. So this is just a prototype. I'm not sure if you have any experience with it, but not everything is working right. It's just a simulation of the design. So if something you run into that doesn't work, we'll just chat about it and we'll get through it that way. So again, there's no right or wrong answers. You're not going to hurt feelings. You don't have to feel like you need to filter anything. So being more candid is actually better for us. So that's the way to be most helpful. So to kick off the scenario, imagine you're looking for a new way to manage the different project task lists that you have, and a friend recommended this site for you, and you're interested in trying it out. So just as a reminder, as we're going through this, just think out loud. Tell me, like things that you like, things that you don't like, and if you get confused, just say that as well. So. Cool. And then we can dive into the landing page here and get started.
Is there certain tasks you want me to perform, or overall impressions?
Just what are you thinking as you're going through, whether like reading some of the headlines and copy, like what is this? What are you thinking this like bird's eye this platform does?
As I mentioned, I like the logo. I think it's cute and clever, which I can sense that there's nice aesthetics going on, which is an important thing for me personally in a tool. So that gives a good impression. I see Trello, GitHub, Asana, not sure in this one, not sure in this one, but Jira, all things I am somewhat familiar with. So that leads me to believe that maybe there's some API things going on with, I don't know what the right word I'm looking for is, but where I can maybe connect to like GitHub and Jira and other tools, Trello, that I might already be using within this platform to kind of connect them together. That would be my impression. I like the shapes and the things, nice design, integration of all tasks into a single priority list. That makes sense to me. Again, this is probably showing the UI of the interface, which again looks clear, which makes it appealingly clear and simple, kind of reminiscent of Trello a little bit, which I'm familiar with. So
Awesome.
Overall, my impressions would be good, and I'd probably try to get more information, especially if it came from a personal recommendation from somebody that I know.
Cool. All right. So I'll have you click the sign in button in the upper right, and just assuming that you have like a trial or whatever, and,
Sure.
and just signing in to the platform. So again, whatever you're thinking, if you could just, let us know, it'd be helpful.
It says step 1, click and drag this card data to get started. So I am trying to click and drag it. Maybe it's me on this mouse, or I don't want to.
So okay, I should clarify. Can't drag
Sure.
within the prototype, so just click.
Okay. With that clarification, yeah. Click and drag to refer. Okay, so this is showing me my list of tasks as an example and showing that I could reorder them anyway. One thing that I would maybe, okay, so this is saying step 1, step 2, click and drag to reprioritize. I would expect again, this is just walking me through the steps, but when I did click and drag, I would expect the numerics to be like 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And then create a new task by clicking create new task. Okay. So there's a checkbox. Maybe if I go back, can I go back to the screen before?
You can use your arrows, but if that kind of highlights.
I kind of missed what happened
Sure.
with the checkbox there, but create a new task. And to be perfectly honest, normally I kind of skip through.
Yeah.
Or I'll kind of look at them, but not really. And I'm usually a learner that I just start clicking around.
Sure. Yeah.
By doing.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
I'm trying to follow this, but maybe not reading carefully as I should. Create a new task by clicking create new task. Oh, okay, that's pretty straightforward. Okay. Now I see I'm creating a new task. Here's my task. Add first integration in your settings under the cog in the upper right. Okay, so here's my cog, upper right. Okay, so here I would be adding an account. Okay, and here it looks like I'm selecting a plan for the platform.
Yeah. So I think even just like terminology might have had some inconsistencies there. But with sources, what we're doing right here is adding sources to integrate into Bird's Eye.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my impression was it was like a walkthrough of like, here's the task and here's how you can organize the task. So the fact that I went straight to like adding an account, like that just wasn't clear
Sure.
with the cog. But now I understand this is where I would be adding
So yeah, under the sources, there's an add source button. We'll just have you click
Okay.
that.
Okay, so I'd say like Trello, right? I'd sign into my Trello, select what projects you'd like to bring in. Okay, I can select specific project. Started. And then,
Yep.
okay. Oh, these are the projects, sorry, because I'm not familiar with it. So then I see my projects from Trello that are showing up here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And then I can click into them. Design dashboard. Yep. Okay. Now I see this is coming in from Trello and it went under today. I'm just adding them all to the list here by clicking on them, but it would be a click and drag prototype.
Yep.
Let's see. And I know the hint. So now I want to add another source.
So yeah, so that is kind of if you wanted to add another integration, you just go through that same flow, and you could add like Jira or
this prototype there.
Yep.
But presumably I could add from any of my other platforms and add them into Birdseye to manage.
Yeah, exactly. So how does this compare to what you're using now?
I like that potentially, again, my internal job software management tool wouldn't be able to be integrated into this just because of the nature of its, software just for internal work. So that would be a challenge, but in other ways where like Trello, or again, occasionally I do use Jira, which if I'm working with another kind of outside team, then like that would be super helpful to like bring tasks there internally here.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything that you specifically liked about Birdseye or didn't like? Like, is there anything that's stands out?
I see today and tomorrow, but usually when I'm kind of like planning my tasks, I look at the week for me personally. So I maybe want to like give an option, like, can I, plan my week, and then, maybe things need to get around, but I kind of like to get a view of like what I'm doing for the week, what's priority.
Yep.
Kind of a thing.
So it's not in this prototype, but this would be a horizontal scroll through your week.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then what we're thinking too is like you're going through and checking off your tasks. If there's anything that you didn't completed, that will just bounce over to the next day so that nothing falls through the cracks there. Could you see this product fitting into your workflow? I feel like we kind of touched on that, but do you have any other thoughts on that?
If I used more of the platforms, that are integrated in here, then for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would you describe this product to a friend?
I would say, are you annoyed with how many different planning job, like project management platforms you have to deal with, but you just want one like clear, simple, concise list? Then this would be a great product to use.
Awesome. So last question, it's kind of a fun one. If you had 3 like magic wishes that you could have to improve this product, what would it be?
Be integrating with weird internal software.
Yeah.
I have to use.
Yeah, if it had.
Said magic wand. I guess maybe have some collaborative view of like calendar type thing where like blocking times out, or like an issue I have, I guess, with project planning is unless I put it on my calendar, sometimes I don't get like the dedicated work time, or people will be stopping by my desk. So I guess, and one reason why I only use pen and paper is because this list is just for me. I guess if I had a tool where it was online, like let coworkers or other people see what I'm up to and maybe, plan blocks of, or sometimes I have a project manager or somebody come up to me and say, hey, do you have time for this? Maybe they could just come to this tool and see what's on my plate.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Definitely. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, that wraps up what I had planned for the user interview here. I appreciate, again, you taking the time and had some great feedback. So thank you. We can jump back in the other room.
Stop the share too.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll jump back in the other room. There's the video. Just kidding. Kidding. Everyone's going to throw up. So did she pass?
Oh, look at Sam sitting down.
Wow. All right.
I saw that whole journey.
You guys told me not to do that too, and I did. So sorry. All right, cool. So yeah, I think it'd just be, kind of good just to open it up from here and just chat casually about how we take what we just did through the user interview and create like action steps through that. And if anybody has any questions about that specifically, or even like the process of where we're logging things and how we're keeping track of the documentation from that interview and create action steps, I think we can just kind of open it up from here and just see what you guys thought, if you have anything specific you want to talk about.
The thing I thought was interesting, in this case, it's a tool for designers and you're talking to a designer. So I could recognize it. You have design vocabulary, so you're kind of able to navigate the app in a way that someone who's less tech savvy, but other users,
Sure.
a non-design tool might go through prototypes. So I've encountered that when I've worked with user interviews. I mean, even just like the concept of a prototype, you grabbed on pretty quickly that you can't click and drag a thing over to the today group, but that's a leap that I've discovered that a lot of people have difficulty with.
Right.
And if it's not like a polished, high fidelity mock-up, but wireframe stage, even more difficult to get people to really use their imagination. As designers, we kind of have that inherently, but depending on what the app is and who it's for, it's often case you're having to educate them on prototype usage and then be able to talk about things in a way that is useful for designers and developers. So that was interesting, but I think it's important just to be able to keep the questions structured in a way that the user knows that they just need to be able to talk in any form that's comfortable for their understanding of this particular product.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I found the challenge to be. I don't think there's one easy way to do that.
Yeah.
It's a matter of personality, I think.
For sure. Cool. There's a question actually on here from somebody tuning in from Bobby McDonald. He's just asking, do you record all of your sessions? What does the team individual synthesis look like? Do you always have a dedicated note taker for sessions? So yeah, ideally we definitely record all of our sessions. And we ideally like to have somebody conducting the interview and then having somebody, a note taker, for example. So we didn't do that tonight, but that way the interviewee can focus on just making the person comfortable and getting them in the right mindset of providing the most helpful, beneficial feedback for the team, and you don't have to worry about note taking. Although there are cases where you kind of have to wear both hats. So in a perfect world, yeah, you have a note taker and can just allow the other person to focus on asking questions and guiding the interview.
And so if you use like Zoom and then another app we use is called Otter, you can download like the MP3 from Zoom, just the audio, and upload it, and they'll transcribe the whole thing for you in a couple minutes. So if there are key insights that you want, does a pretty good job of transcription. Obviously, if the audio is not good, it's going to take quite a bit. it's a lot more accurate than Siri if you've ever done, speech to text. It's awful, but it's a lot more accurate than that, we found.
Yeah.
What tools do you use when you do like mobile usability testing? Record those sessions?
Just so that people that are tuning in can hear the question, I just want to make sure you repeat the question before you answer. Thanks, Sam.
Sure.
Just to let you know.
Yeah. So what do we use for mobile usability testing?
To record that session and to do your prototyping.
Yeah. Billy, I feel like you and I did that for a client project a few months back. Trying to remember our exact workflow of how we accomplished that. I don't know if you...
I mean, a lot of it, so it depends. If we're going to do it remotely, sometimes we'll just use Figma and use just the mobile frame and have them go through on their computer. But a lot of times you can get a lot of prototypes on the actual device. So Figma has screen mirroring, so they have to be in person then because you got to hand them a device, not going to send an iPhone to somebody to go check it out. So InVision also allows you to load prototypes on a mobile phone. They're a little bit more, like you can send a link to a phone and they can open it up and look at it and go there. And then there are tools out there, what was it, Look Back, that will record the face as somebody's going through it using the camera on the phone, so you can kind of have them go through the prototype and record that experience as well. But mobile is a little bit trickier, and if you're not there with them going through the whole process, it gets a little bit harder.
If you have enough time to set it up, where you have somebody going ahead and making sure that someone's set up right for the test, like you can send instructions to just tether to their phone, like they're going to charge it, and then they can share their mobile screen to Zoom in addition to, so they just change their video from the camera to the iPhone device and they'll share it to the Zoom. So then you can see that.
If they have a Mac.
Yeah. Depends on the environment.
What's the range of technical skill people that you've had interviews with? Just out of curiosity, is it?
Truck drivers to people that work in tech.
Yeah, I mean, I assume truck drivers span the range of tech savviness, but I mean, when you work with somebody who just like you tell them to open up their browser, they're not sure what that means. How does your process change when you're dealing with people like that who maybe have very valuable input for a consumer level app?
Yeah, I think a lot of our testing is probably more in the enterprise level.
Okay.
But I think try to find different words that describe it. Your web browser, usually like try to send a link or something that'll trigger like a browser to open or something like that.
Sweet. Yeah, any other questions or thoughts?
The people who are taking notes, what kind of notes are they generally taking? I mean, what was the output, I guess?
Yeah, so we use software called Notion that's where we kind of use our source of truth, where we have our script that we go through, and then we usually leave space. So you can have multi-contributors like Google Docs or something, and then just creating this space to take notes that are associated with each question. So pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Sometimes there's like highlights. You can call something out, like you highlight it or bold it, like come back to, and then get back into it. As I mentioned, like sometimes we'll be in this room, or sometimes we'll be fully remote, and then do a debrief of, hey, what are the patterns, and then start like affinity mapping those. So that could be getting them, writing feedback on note cards or doing it in Figma. We have some like product templates that we use inside of that. So I guess it depends what type of feedback.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you report back to your clients, what are they getting typically?
They would get like a video recap of some highlights, some synthesis from their user.
Yeah.
So from the people we talked to and interviewed.
Okay.
So they get that feel. So it's not like, here's what they said. It's like, well, here's a 2-3 minute clip of different chops of that interview and like struggles that they're having. And then here's some patterns we saw. Then here's the plan to iterate on that interface, or, if we're good to talk with more users, like what that plan is.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool.
Awesome.
So my curiosity is maybe everyone kind of go around the room, share who you are, where you're from, and kind of what you're hoping to take away from tonight's, I guess, conversation. So whoever wants to start. because we haven't fully introduced everybody to each other yet. So
Yeah.
Jacob, I'll start.
Yeah.
My name is Jacob Miller. I'm the head of marketing here at Headway, marketing manager, and so I help coordinate events like this and promote them and all that jazz. And I don't know, it's always good to kind of see. I'm not usually involved with all of the user interview stuff, but it's always cool to see what people are saying and how they interact with the technologies that we're building. And then for me, like as we build landing pages and all sorts of things, how can we use those same processes and improve those too? So, yeah.
I'm Jenna. I do SEO and social media work, and I just kind of thought that it would be interesting to kind of see how people make the websites better and more user-friendly.
Jeff from Green Bay, working on a few projects and started listening to the ancient podcasts and learned about the 5 whys and come across the meetups, and it's my mirror.
Awesome.
Great. My name is Zach. I'm from Milwaukee, and I've been doing web design, product design for a while. And it's working independently. You kind of get into your own methods. So I'm interested to learn about how other people solve common problems for design.
See?
I'm Amy. I'm a designer at an agency in De Pere, and I'm here just to support the UX community in Green Bay, and also I'm a bit rusty on my moderating skills for usability testing, so I figured, why not?
See.
I'm Maria. I am doing business marketing in UWGB. I'm kind of working on a wedding planning app, so I thought that customer interviews was something I could look at.
Absolutely. It's awesome.
Were you at the pitch event recently?
Oh,
Okay, I was like, I recognize her from somewhere, but I couldn't figure it out. So. Cool, glad you're here.
Nice, thank you.
I'm Alex. I'm originally from Minnesota, but I'm at school at UWGB. I'm currently working on a startup, and we're having some difficulties with our website, so I got recommended to this, so I thought I'd come.
Awesome.
Really a design lead here at Headway. Help do, everything design related here. But like user testing is a big part of what we do. So just excited to help evolve the process as we keep doing it.
Andrew, partner at Headway, here because we currently use it.
I'm the host.
And the CCM spreads wings a little bit on some of the usability stuff. So.
Cool. Yeah.
Anyone remote want to introduce themselves?
Could they hear Andrew say that? That's another
Yeah, he
question.
did actually. So Lars raised his hand. All right, see if this works. Lars, yeah.
Hello. Hey, man. Great to hear you all. This was a great presentation. My name is Lars. I'm from Kansas City. It was great being here just to learn more about conducting customer interviews. And it's a really exciting time for UX just because of how being able to work remote and screen share has impacted how we design. It's really exciting. So.
It's awesome. Yeah, thanks for tuning in and introducing yourself. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got one more, it looks like. All right. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, wonderful. So my name's Bobby. I'm actually sitting here with my brother Kevin as well, attending this remotely, but both of us work in the insurance industry, both doing product design. And so this content is extremely relevant. We're doing interviews all the time. And so I think, for both of us, it's beneficial because it's cool to see different methods that people utilize. And some of the questions I was asking just around the techniques for synthesizing and note taking, it's a constant, act of trying to improve your own practices. So this is just a way for us to continue to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. Thanks for joining us and participating. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for accommodating.
Also glad to see that there's a team Figma going on.
Yeah.
One of the, so we talked about some lightweight lean methods to analyze research, but if you're doing a lot, there's like, we do a learn something as a design team twice a week. And so one of them, we got a demo from a new tool called Validately. And what they do is allow you to take videos, they'll transcribe it and allow you to tag those videos and actually like keyword search for across your interviews. So it does a lot of the work for you. It's about $1,000 a month.
Yeah, they do clips and they do the clip mashups for you.
Yeah,
So you
all
don't have to
the
manually
clip.
edit all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's another cool tool if you have the resources and insurance or Bobby or other teams that you can automate some of that work and focus more on the interviews and prep and not so much synthesis that's mashing videos and stuff together. So
And they also get users for you as well. So, which I don't know if it's like usertesting.com. It sounded similar-ish.
Yeah, I'm curious if you give them like certain criteria that you're looking for and they kind of headhunt that way, or I don't know.
Which usertesting.com is pretty good if you're looking to do a lightweight test and you don't have to go try to find a bunch of users. The problem is they're all professional testers, so they read everything. So take your results with a grain of salt.
That's like what I primarily get to use, and I feel like you can only specify your user to a certain level, and they're not always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're like looking for something very particular, and sometimes I've even had it where I'm like, female, like, and it's a male, like, I don't know. But I mean, a great tool for like general, like, as long as you don't have like a really specific niche, like kind of user that you need.
Yeah, we put a couple of marketing sites through there, and everyone was reading every single word on the page, and I was like, nobody reads every word on the page.
Right. Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, we'll wrap it up then. Again, thanks for coming. And Lars and Bobby, appreciate you guys joining us online. So yeah, we usually do these things monthly, and we'll just keep the lookout for next month's topic.